Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, fellow Toastmasters, and esteemed members of Toastmasters International. A very warm welcome to this Toastmasters Division G monthly workshop. I'm Titin and I have the honor of serving you as the host for today's session. Throughout the session today, we will have the privilege of hearing from our keynote speaker, Miss Adelina Adna, who is very well versed in Canva. We are very grateful to have you here, Miss Adelina Adna. Miss Adelina will explain to us how to use Canva in creating Toastmaster meetings posters, which I myself is very much excited to learn. So as we move forward, I encourage each and every one of you to be active participants in this workshop to take the advantage of this opportunity to engage with our speaker, to ask questions, share your own thoughts, experiences perhaps. So let us embark on this journey together and make the most of this fruitful opportunity. Without further ado, let us commence this workshop by welcoming Miss Adelina Adna. Screen and time is yours.
Thank you so much, Titin. All right, so first of all, thank you so much, Titin, for inviting me. I know you invited me months ago, and I said, "Oh, I'm not here. It's okay. It's on Zoom." So like, okay. It's been a while since I've seen some of you. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. Let me just share my screen now. Okay, is everybody able to see my screen? Oh, hang on, screen is loading. There we go. Okay, so everybody able to see my screen?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, thank you so much. So today I'll be sharing a little bit about Canva, and then we're going to explore some of the ways that we can do that we can do posters through Canva and how to make it easy. Okay, so a little bit about myself. Um, I like to call myself a multi. See, there's the little bit of typo there. Multi-potentialite, not a micro-potentialite. Multi-potentialite and a creative. So what does that mean? That means that I have multiple different skills in different fields, and I sort of combine that into a unique experience. So I've been doing things on the internet and doing tech things for the past more than 25 years now. I started in school when the internet first came to life until now. So I've been pretty much a digital citizen for over 25 years. So I'm also the founder and trainer at Passionate Creative Space, as well as on the another company, which is Rima Synergy. So Passionate basically is a creative company where we assist or we support micro businesses on brand visuals, social media strategy, and a lot of strategy and mentoring through budget friendly solutions. So that's kind of my expertise also, having started so early in school, no budget at the time. So it has been something that I am very passionate about, that you can do many things even on a shoestring budget or on a free basis. So that is where I am from. I was a Toastmaster from year 2015 until this year, actually. So that's a little bit about me, for those who have not met me before. Okay. So what can you expect from today's workshop? I think Titin also mentioned a little bit about it, which is to learn how to make posters, especially the meeting posters. And sometimes there are different types of posters also as Toastmasters. You have your contest posters or announcement posters that are not meeting related. And then uh, maybe to introduce your new members, for instance. So that's something that we will look at. Basically, what I'll be going through, and hopefully at the end of this, you'll have a better idea, or you'll have more ideas of how you can implement Canva in the design work for not just posters, but hopefully different other applications like later on. Yeah, so the basics is the same. And that's what we're going to have a look at. So let's run through the contents. Today we have 90 minutes. So I'll be going through briefly an overview on the Toastmaster International branding. So when you're creating posters for Toastmaster materials, then this is very important to take note of, because Toastmaster International has a very comprehensive branding guideline. So that's something to take note of. And then we're going to look at simplifying design with Canva. So Canva is a very, very fun tool, and it makes designing easier. The whole premise of Canva is designing for non-designers. So that's something that is super aligned with what I enjoy, and I love sharing with people. So we're going to look at how we can do that with Canva. What are the features? And there's so many new features. And in fact, next week, they'll be announcing even more features at their keynote event. And then lastly, we'll be looking at Canva for you and your club. So there are different types of Canva plans. So we'll look briefly at that as well. So basically the bulk of what we're going to do today will be in the second one, which is simplifying design with Canva. And lastly, we have 20 to 30 minutes, hopefully, for a Q&A. So if you have any questions, that will be the time to ask. But I do encourage, if you have any questions earlier on, in case you forget, just post it in the chat, and then we can get back to it as we go on, right? So here is basically, I have only two rules for my workshops. One is participation. So the more you participate, the more we can learn, and the more I can share, right? And also ask questions. So questions you can ask again in the chat, or later verbally also during the Q&A. So is everybody okay with this? All right, thank you so much. Okay, so let's look at the first portion, which is the branding. So Toastmaster International, again, has a very comprehensive branding guideline. So first of all, how many of you have seen the brand manual? Can I get some thumbs up? All right, so there's a few of you who have seen the brand manual. Yes, thank you so much. How many of you have gone through the brand manual? Okay, I see quite a few of you, some shaking your head, some, yes, doing the thumbs up. All right, so the brand manual, we're going to look a little bit into it in the next few slides, and I'll go through what some of it means and how it affects your design. Secondly, how are you acquainted with Canva? So the whole workshop is basically Canva. How many people have used Canva or have seen Canva first, and then we'll go into have used Canva. Okay, I see some nods, some or hands raised. Awesome. How many have not used Canva before? Okay, I think most everyone have used Canva before. Great. Okay, so these are the main two things that we'll be looking at today. All right, so what is branding? Anybody know what is branding? Maybe you can share in the chat, or you can voice it out. Let's ask this question. What is branding? We keep talking about branding. It's like, oh, TI has its own branding. What is it? Let's see. Don't know. Your persona. All right. Identity. All right. Yes. So technically branding is very wide. So we always see branding, people say, oh, it's our logo, it's the fonts, it's the colors. Yes, all of that is branding, in a visual sense. So there's brand visual, you've got different things like brand strategy, brand positioning. So what we will focus on is the brand visuals and why is it important. So let's look at why branding is important especially in any organization, really. So number one, we're looking at consistency. So Toastmasters International has clubs all over the world. And if every club were to have its own style and color and fonts and all of those things, brand visuals are different for every club, then Toastmaster International will not be consistent in people's minds. People will know the clubs maybe individually, but not the organization that brings all the clubs together. So why it's important to have branding is so that anywhere you go in the world, everything is familiar. So even the way that the meetings run, like the components in the meetings or the types of speeches that you give, pathways, for example, all of that is part of the Toastmasters International branding. So anywhere in the world that you go, when you say pathways, they will know what you're talking about. So that's one of the reasons. Next is, again, the set standards and rules. So standards, again, reflect on consistency, and having rules then allows you to have the same sort of flow, and it becomes very familiar whenever you go or whenever someone goes into a Toastmasters meeting or event and things like that. So then that makes Toastmasters International recognizable. Whenever you see these colors, it becomes recognizable. So for instance, if you're looking at different brands such as McDonald's, when you see the yellow M, when you see the specific red, or in fact, even recently we had the Barbie movie, just seeing the right pink, you know exactly it's Barbie. You see the font, you know exactly it's Barbie. So it becomes very, very recognizable. Anywhere in the world, you can go into McDonald's, even if they call it Mecca, they call it McD, or Mickey Donald's, whatever they call it, you know exactly what the brand is, right? And it helps for the organization to stay focused. You don't Individual clubs don't have to think of, oh, how do we portray this, or what colors do we go for, what kind of fonts would go with this, because there's a very concise and very standard way of presenting the brand that you don't have to think about it. It's already been thought for you by the organization. And last but not least, it it shows the value of the organization. So blue being trustworthy and things like that, red, and they didn't choose a very bright red, they chose a very sophisticated red. So it really shows the kind of organization that Toastmasters International is, and it's reflected within their branding. So these are among the many important things that branding is for, right? So that's 5 that I'm sharing here, but I'm sure you'll be able to think of more, right, of why it's important, because sometimes what branding does also, it creates an emotional connection. So having that emotional connection also helps to create different values, or why it's important to you, right? So that is a little bit about why the importance of branding. So let's go through this one. If you have not seen the brand manual, you can scan the QR code, or later on, I can put also, let me just put that now. I say later on, then I will forget. This is normal. So let me just key that in to the chat if for anyone who has not seen the brand manual. Okay. So now let's look at some of the elements in the brand manual. Voice and tone. So that's part of the branding process, right? Having the voice and tone. They want you to, they even list out what is the communication. Okay, a little bit of entertainment there. So in the brand guide, they also show you what kind of voice should your designs have, or if you were to use the Toastmasters branding, what kind of voice and tone do you need to have? Be warm, clear, friendly, professional, succinct, respectful, universally understandable, and internationally friendly. So these are some of the things that you can incorporate in the, in your design. So when you're thinking about, okay, how do you can't make it into something that is too specific to, okay, this one will be for to attract children, so or things like that. But at the end of the day, Toastmaster International, all the collateral, or when I say collateral, it means the posters or anything that you design will need to have this brand communication. So it does succinct, meaning it is very direct, straight to the point, respectful. You're not impinging on the people's culture or sensitivities. So things like that needs to go into it. Of course, warm, clear, and friendly, as well as professional. That one, I believe most of you are already doing. Okay, so that's a little bit of that. And of course, when we talk about branding, there's always going to be a logo. So there's very specific logos that you can use, and it's downloadable on this link. When you go to the brand manual, you can just click on it, and they give you also spacing. So this is something that I want to emphasize here, especially later on when we're designing, is the spacing. There needs to be enough spacing around the logo itself. Okay. And then next we have the word mark. Word mark also has its own spacing guidelines. So that is something that we need to remember, as well as the different types of logos. So you can't change the colors that are already here. They are the colored ones, as well as the black and white version. So those are the only ones that you can use. You can't change it to both be blue or both be red, unless it's within the website. So in case they change that up, that's where you can find it. There's also different lockups. So lockups basically means that there's a logo and their words. So these are the different versions of it. Again, you can find it in the Toastmaster website. And then they also give you a guideline of what you can and cannot do with the logos. So the logos has to be exactly like that. You can't remove the middle. You can't add words to it or change the words here. So those are things that cannot be done. So do be mindful of this. They put a little bit of an explanation of what they're talking about as well in the guideline. And then you have colors. They're very comprehensive, like I say, not just the hex code, which is the things that the color code that you put into Canva or any other digital device. They also have what we call CMYK. So this is CMYK is for printing. That is important when you're printing, because the colors printed is different from the colors that you see on your screen. So colors that you see on your screen is also called RGB, which is basically red, green, and blue. CMYK is just cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. And then you have your Pantone colors. So Pantone colors, some printers will look at Pantone colors for their printers. So that's basically why they also give you that. And these are the colors that you can use, as well as transparency. So if you're using transparencies, you want to layer on top of your design, they also give you a guideline of 70% white opacity. And then they show you gradients. So this was introduced, I think, in 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they introduced gradients, which makes design a little bit more interesting. And they gave you the exact colors that you can use for the gradients. And then fonts. So fonts, they give you what is the main font, Gotham, which is usually a paid font, but I think now is it now in I think they've added this to Canva. I need to double check. But another alternative is Montserrat, which is definitely available in Canva. In fact, I'm using it on my slides. So mastering here, this is a Montserrat font. So those are things that you can have, and Canva has those free. I believe Montserrat is free. So there are some fonts in Canva, if you're not on the pro version, that they're not free. So Myriad Pro is not in Canva, but you can look for Source Sans Pro. So this is a Google font, which is a free alternate to Myriad Pro. So these are the 2 fonts that, the 4 fonts total that they recommend. Okay. And then briefly, let's go through some of the images and photography that are do's, right? So we look at posters, we see so many different photos. Sometimes we have photos that are about certain topics, so we make that a focal point on the posters. So in Toastmasters, the brand guideline says that your poster should reflect a Toastmasters environment. So it should engage, empower, and be supported, right? So that's the kind of vibe or the kind of photos that they prioritize in the design. It should portray meetings, presentations, speeches, networking, training venues, conferences, and speech contests. So you might be looking at it like, huh? But that's so boring. Every post is going to look like the same, right? Everyone's going to be a presentation, a speech, a meeting. So that's going to look boring. So what can you do about it? There are certain workarounds. So even though I said that reflect Toastmaster environment, engage, empowered, support, and portrays the meetings, they also give some don'ts. But for the don'ts, right? The hard don'ts are cartoons, illustrations, and clip arts. So these are specifically mentioned to not be used in the designs. Okay, so then what about landscapes, animals, children, food, and food appliances, medicine, and architecture? Things like these are just examples that they gave within the guideline. So these are not necessarily not allowed, but it should not be the focal point. So for instance, if it's used as a background or as little accents, but they are not the focal point, you are not making it the anchor for your design, you can use it. So use it, but in as like a background effect or as like little accents, right? Then it's not encouraged, but sometimes the topic may be aligned with some of these, so it can be used, but in a way that still reflects Toastmasters environment. Okay, so there are a few examples that I want to share in the next few slides. So how we on the Toastmasters branding? Is it sounding a bit too it looks so professional, or there's so many limitations? How many of you feel like, oh my God, there's so many limitations? So when this came out and this was really enforced, a lot of us were like, how then do we design the posters if this one cannot, that one you cannot? Okay, so I'm looking at the chat here. We have Ilios, yes, is using Udly to get AI powered insights correct. So Udly is a speech coach that AI that Toastmasters has partnered with, and it's free to use for all paid members of Toastmasters International. So if you're a member, there is that. Udly. I have not used it, but I have seen it, and I have spoken to district director Hani, and she said yes, that is something that we're looking at now. Yes, it is. So then the color code in the Canva, same number as the print one. So usually in Canva, you will put in the hex code. So that is you will put in the hex code. That's the one with the hashtag. Okay, so now that we have gone through the Toastmaster International branding, just briefly through, let's go into the second section, which is simplifying design with Canva. Now, first, I want to hear some of your thoughts. So you can unmute or you can type it in the chat. We're going to look at some posters that I found from Toastmasters all around the world. And let's do a little bit of exercise here. Okay, so feel free to unmute. This is a very casual session. It's more of a sharing session here. So let's look at this poster that I found. Okay, we're not what do you call this? We're not criticizing their design. We're just looking at components or elements here that can be improved in accordance to the guidelines, right? And in accordance to some design principles. Now, off the bat, what are the things that you notice about this poster?
The use of children,
The use of children. Anything else?
isn't it?
Yes. What
Illustration,
pardon?
maybe illustration.
Illustration, correct. What else?
The logo position to left, little bit to the left.
Okay,
There's
the
no
logo
space.
position. Not enough spacing, right? It's too
Mhm.
much to the left. Yeah. So illustration not allowed. Kids, okay, because it's you know, it's a topic there, but it shouldn't be the focal point again. But illustration is a hard no.
I think the space for the Toastmaster logo.
Yeah, the space for the Toastmaster logo, there's a minimum amount of spacing that needs to go around it. What about design wise? When you look at it, what do you feel, or what do you feel should be adjusted? Does it look balanced? Does it look too far apart or too cramped? What do you feel?
The primary color is not included for maroon.
Okay, I believe they included it in the illustration, but yeah, that is one. Okay, so part of design is not only do you look at the space around the logo, right? But you also look overall. So as you can see here, there's a lot of space between words and the images, and this image is far below. It's already touching this line. And as you can see, the line here, the spacing here, and the spacing here, number one, it's not the same size. And secondly, it's very, very, very close to the edges. So it makes this design look very empty in the middle, but also very tight at the bottom, right? Okay, so that's the first one. We're going to go through a few. Let's see. Using cartoon. Yes, correct. So cartoon cannot. Okay, Azhar, I'll get to your question later during the design process. So here's another one. What do you feel about this? About this poster? What are your thoughts?
Too much information.
Too much information.
The TI logo should be on the left side, right?
Okay, so logo on the left side. In the guidelines, I went through the guidelines again last night just to refresh my memories. It is ideally supposed to be located here or here. So top left or bottom right. Those are the ideal locations. Yeah.
Okay.
But it doesn't say actually that it cannot be elsewhere, because sometimes it's in the middle as well. So ideally, have it here.
Left or
here.
right,
Yes.
bottom.
Correct. Top left or bottom right. Yeah. So I think one of the first things that you see here is you don't know where to look at. What am I looking at first? Am I looking at the date first? Am I looking at the theme? What is this that I need to read? And there's too much information. So when we're creating posters, depending on the size, for this particular size, it looks very, very cluttered or very, very full. So we try not to put in too much words. Yes, right? Usage of colors is good. Only there's just too much to look at, too many things, right? So in design, there's something that's called a visual hierarchy. So visual hierarchy shows that basically, where do you want someone to look at first? Obviously, the first one that I noticed would be the top because of the white and the contrast. And the second one I look at is the date. And the third one I look at is the theme. So this photo becomes almost invisible in this design. Okay, I'll just open it again. Too many text to cram, too much eye-catching, correct. So when something is a lot to see, then it can be a deterrent. People will go like, oh, this is too much. I cannot look at this, right? There's an eye fatigue that element that comes into it. So that's why designs, we try to have more space, give all the elements enough space to shine, basically. Let's look at another one. Okay, this one is a different shape. This one is a different shape. What do you think? Anyone?
The love stickers.
The love stickers. Yep, those are clip arts. Illustration, clip arts, those should not be in a Toastmaster poster. And then we look at the logo again. The
This
logo,
one too.
yes, there's
One-
not enough spacing around the logo, right? And then here, if you look at the spacing here, it looks like the words are going to fall off the image. It's too close to the edge. So again, when we look at things, sometimes the idea is good. It's just a little bit of tweaking. So one of the other things that I would tweak in this design would be to shrink this image a little bit so that you have ample space around it to give it space to breathe. So if you see here, this is too close. If you look here, this one seems like it's very close, right? And another thing is this link. Having a link this long with randomized letters is not conducive in a poster. Yeah, of course, certain phones, they can just copy from an image the text and paste it, but that's not true for all. So even if you're looking at looking at it from your desktop, from your laptop, chances are you won't be able to highlight it and join the meeting. So things like the ID and the passcode, those will help. Or if you want to have a link, use a URL shortener so that it's so much easier for people to see, to remember, and to write. Okay, so there's a question here. The PI has the Toastmaster logo, or the picture has Toastmaster logo, and the poster also has the logo. Is it too much? So if you look here, it's okay, mainly because the focal point of the photo is not the logo. The logo is sort of blurred in the background, so it's not so obvious that it's there. But if you have images that do not have the logo, maybe those you can use that option instead, right? Otherwise, we'll see Toastmaster logo, Toastmaster logo, Toastmaster logo everywhere, and it becomes very overpowering in the design. Okay, here's another example. What are your thoughts on this one? They're using the right colors. Okay, Carlina says it's good. It is quite a nice design, I have to say. I do like the design.
No Toastmaster logo.
Okay, no
The-
Toastmaster logo. Instead, they
logo
used
icon?
a different one. They used the word mark.
Okay.
Yeah. So because of the space constraint, I think that's why they use the word mark instead of the logo. Okay. Also the logo. Yeah. So one of the things again is using some illustration which is not recommended. Although I feel like this one looks quite good, but again, according to the brand guidelines, it's not recommended. So maybe remove that, have the clouds as more of a shape. That should be okay. But this is quite a nice design, a very good use of color, a very good use of spacing, and you get all the information, all the necessary information is there. They have their own hashtag. They clearly state which club. They have the Toastmaster word mark. They also have their website information, which area, division, district. They have these photos, right? So some designs, when you put a black and white photo, it actually works really well and blends in with the design really well. They put in all the names of these, the speakers. They have the date. They have the Zoom ID and passcode very clearly stated. I like this design personally. So this is an idea of what designs that you can do. So some clubs, I've noticed that they use photos of the speakers. Some will use the photo of the Toastmaster of the day, or Toastmaster of the evening, or the MC, or they'll put posters. They'll put a photo of a keynote speaker. Okay, let's look at this one. This one is using a different logo. They're using the lockup, the logo lockup. Right? And again, here is a good use of colors. They didn't use too much of the blue. They might use it maybe for color coding, perhaps, in their other posters. So that's why maybe for meetings, they have, oh, meetings is the maroon color. Oh, some say too much maroon, okay. Yeah. So this one, although here they use the maroon color, there is a little bit of a pattern, right? And in the Toastmaster guideline, in Toastmaster guideline, there are actually there's a guideline for a gradient. So technically, this is, although pretty, there needs to be this, we need to use the guideline that was provided by Toastmasters. So why use since 1924 bigger? Okay, so this one is already, it is not made by them. It is actually from Toastmasters International. It is one of the lockup logos. So the design is as such. Yep, and they're using here fonts that, so if you see using too much font, technically they're using one font. It's just that this is bold, this is not. So what you can see here is the usage of this kind of narrow type of font is good when it's a larger word, right? When it becomes smaller and not bold, it is a little bit harder to read. So that is why for these kind of words, it's good to use something like this instead of this narrow type of font. Can we use one color only? Yes. Yes, we can use one color only. The only thing is that when you use one color for all, then you do not have the contrast, or you don't have the visual interest in the poster. So imagine if all of these yellow text is white, it will be it will create a very flat kind of effect. So that's why we try to mix at least two colors so you can put emphasis. So here you can see the emphasis here is the date, and then after that you can look at the time. Here the emphasis is the Toastmaster of the evening, and then you have the speakers. So it differentiates the different purposes of those texts. So here theme is small and white, and here the confidence code is larger text, but in yellow. So that is part of the reason. Okay, and then here, because they're using narrow text, it becomes very difficult to read compared to if they were to use this type of font. Okay. Here's another design that I found. What are your thoughts on this one? I like the design personally, but I can see a few improvements that can be made to it. So if you see here, I think this one can answer the question if we use one color for the for the fonts. So if you see if you ignore this, then you can see that the color is a bit, I mean the text doesn't stand out, right? Too much gray. Yeah, gray is supposed to be an accent color actually. It's not supposed to be yeah, gray is a bit tricky to use, but I think if they use more, maybe a blue here, and then maybe these lines could be yellow, then you get that what do you call this? You get the contrast and you get some interest in the design. Club name should be at the top together with Toastmaster logo. Okay, so technically club name does not need to be at the top. There's no guideline that says that it needs to be at the top. Yeah. Okay, so this is another way, another style of design. They put the names here and they remove background and put all the faces here. And it looks like this particular Toastmasters club, they seem to have members who already have very nice profile photos. So it's easy to do these kind, you know, sometimes we get photos when we ask from our from members, and then it's a little bit cut off here, or it's very closed up. Whereas here for this design, you will require at least a bust photo. Okay. See in terms of the font use, it's very legible. You can see very clearly what is being said, and because they made it bigger, even when they use the narrower font, they also increase the spacing between the letters. So that's something that we can do also in Canva. Okay, I promise this is almost done. And then we can go into the design portion. So here's another another poster. What are the things that you notice?
The logo in the middle.
Logo in the middle, okay. Right, and then you can see here, so this is also the Kathmandu Toastmasters Club, like just now, but the use of the font is a little bit different. Yes, I like this too, Azhar. So some things maybe that can be improved, but I also like that they have, you know, they really put in different elements. There's a quote here that reflects the discussion or the topic that they're going to discuss. Toastmasters logo is too big. Okay. So what you can notice here is again, the importance of space, right, in design. So when you look at here, right, there's the space above the logo. And then when you look at the bottom portion, it looks very bottom heavy because there's very little space here in between the yellow box and the edge of the poster. So that is why it's giving the effect that the Toastmasters logo is a little bit too big. So what can be done is to shrink or make this this maroon box a little bit smaller because they have the space, just a little bit smaller. This one also bring it up a little bit, and then make these images just slightly smaller. And maybe the power of parenting can be a bit smaller so that you can shift all of this a little bit up. Right? So here's an example of using the photo of a family or children that is okay because it's not the focal point. It's just there as a background and it reflects the topic. But the focal point here is still the topic here, the speakers, as well as the meeting or the discussion info. Right? So then the use of colors is really good using all the Toastmaster colors. This one could also be changed a little bit in the sense that this could be an opposite of this, meaning the text can be in the maroon color and this could be a white color maybe. Or gray maybe will bring it down too much, but a white color. So then you can see the difference as well, because I believe this particular maroon is not in the palette. It may be in the palette as a gradient, but not as its own color, right? My color is using illustrations and rotations to reflect the theme and attract the audience. Because most of the time it's difficult to get photo pic that suit with the theme, we use illustration. Please, your advice. Okay. Yeah, so sometimes, okay, I think this one, I'll show a few tricks that I have in looking for photos that can reflect the theme. Okay. Maybe you can share an example of the theme that you have difficulty to find a photo or a picture, and then we'll get back to that. Thank you, Benika. All right, see? So that was the last one. What are your thoughts? I think a lot of what we spoke about in the first session about the Toastmaster branding, I think most of you have a good idea of how to use the colors and the fonts and the spacing, positioning of the logos, the kind of logos that can be used. So that's great. That is the basic, the fundamentals to the design. And then I've also shared a little bit on spacing. So usually spacing is one of the biggest things that I see in posters that may not get as much attention as it should. And then we also touched on the different fonts, having a narrow font versus having a regular size or a wider font, right? So now is the part where we go live on Canva. So I am going to shrink this for now, and we will go on Canva to create a design. Okay, so posters generally are square, but because we're putting it on Instagram, right? Brand colors are not available in the free version. Yes, correct, Azhar. The brand color is not available in the free version. I will show a workaround, and also there is an option that I will share at the end of this. If I forget, remind me. Okay, so generally we have it as a square because of Instagram. A lot of times we post on Instagram. Square is ideal, especially for the feed. And then now that Instagram also introduced portrait, what do you call this? Portrait sizes, which is the 1080 by 1350 pixels. We have more space to work with. But at the same time, keeping that in mind, that sometimes it would look a little bit not so nice in the feed. So that's why a lot of clubs still stick to the square, because when you look at the feed, nothing gets cut off, right? So because of that, let's look at the let's look at creating a square design. So I'm using a pro version, but don't worry, I will share some of the workarounds for those who are not using pro. So Instagram Square, one of the best things about Canva is the measurements are there. You don't have to remember the 1080, 1350 or the 1080, 1080 pixel sizes. It's already there. Okay, so let's look at this. Okay, Benika, we'll get to that soon. Right. So one of the beauty of Canva is, again, the whole premise is to be able to design even if you're not a designer, right? So even if you're not a designer, how do you design? The beauty of it is there's a community of creators who have created lots and lots and lots of templates, right? And here are just some of the examples of the templates that can be used. Now, some may think, but templates, then it's going to look like very generic, or it's, it's not going to look as nice, or it's going to look like someone else's poster, right? So don't worry about that, because whichever template that you choose, you can customize, right? And let's see, let's say we want to say poster, or let's try meeting poster, right? So you have here now automatically designs that can be used. Okay, so let's choose this together. I'm going to scroll, you guys say stop, and then we'll choose which of the 8 that is shown here. Okay, everyone okay with that? Okay, I'm going to scroll. Which catches your eyes? And then we will customize that. Ding, ding. Okay, anything? Nothing? Oh, I actually saw someone use this one. I saw a Toastmaster club using this particular design. Okay. All right, I think I'm scrolling down a lot already. Never mind, let's go to the top. Let's see. Okay, let us look. Maybe you want to try this one, right? Hang on, let me just change the brand. I think I have Toastmasters here.
On community.
Where's the Toastmasters brand? Sorry, guys, I should have. Okay. All right, so this is brand. Again, this one, as I mentioned, is not in the free version. It is in the pro or the team version. And this is pretty cool, very exciting because you have this, right? And then you have, I've already put in all the fonts and the colors and the logos. So all the logos are here. We don't need that yet. So what can be done, right, is you can, to color here, okay, you have your design. Okay, say you like this template. Just go to brand and then you can click on shuffle. And it will shuffle through all the Toastmaster colors without even thinking about it. So say for instance, oh, I kind of like this, but this is too little blue and red, which I would like more of. All you have to do is click on it, click here. And if you have the brand colors, then you can just click. Maybe I want the blue there, or I want the red there. Or I want to change. I don't want that gray color here. So this gray color, I want to change to red. And then the other gray, let's change it to blue. So all of this is very customizable. Now it looks a little bit different from what was the original color. And then we go back to brand and then we say, okay, we know that there are different fonts that we can use. So even if we go here, right? This one is using Antonio. This is the template font. You can scroll down if this is provided you have the brand, which I think all of you can have. Then you can just click and change it, right? So usually your the font needs to be according to the guidelines. Montserrat or Gotham would be like the header font, the bold font, and So Sans Pro would be the info font. So say you change and then it's taking up too much space because this is a narrow font and this is not, right? No worries. You can go here to spacing and you can change. Maybe line spacing you want to change, make it closer, pull this one so that it fits better. So things like that can be done. Okay, and Montserrat, if you use Source Sans Pro, okay, so Montserrat, say we change that, and then you want to have this one also as Montserrat, you can pull it a bit, and what can be done is you can click Shift to highlight both. So for instance, you're clicking on this one on your keyboard, click Shift, click the other thing that helps you to highlight both, and you can take this little part here and shrink it. to size. So now it fits in that size. Or alternatively, you can shrink the photo instead. This one is 2 things, which means you need to take both, right? You can group them to make it easier. Oh, wait, this is 3 things. There's another one. So if there's 3 elements, you can always group them together, shrink it. So now it fits, right? So there are many ways that you can use. You can decrease the font size, or the faster way, which is what I usually do, is just pull it in and out. And then you can adjust the rest. Okay, you don't like these elements, say, okay, do you want a different calendar element? You go to elements and just look for a different icon. So icons and clip arts are different. Icons are more of like a label, a visual label. So maybe you don't want that one, you want it to be this one. So what I like to do is zoom in. To zoom in with the keyboard is just to click Control and your mouse scroll. And then you just, what I like to do is I like to layer it on top so I get the size. And then I Control X, which is cut, and delete this one. And then I can change the color. Or you can change the color. Anybody can change the color. Could be red. So these are different ways that you can, what do you call this? That you can customize the template. This is the easiest way to create these posters and designs, especially when you do not have a design background. This can get you started. And then photos. Okay, someone mentioned photos. Now, photo in the, so as you can see here, oh, this one is like a conference. Let's look for meeting photos. So we've got meeting photos that look like this, like that. Again, a lot of this is pro. You can look for free, but I don't think you can look for free on the free, which is weird that you cannot look for free on the free Canva. So for instance, okay, let's pick an image. Let's just put that in there. So you can just drag and drop, right? And then you can align it because the lady's head got cut off. You can change the alignment. Now here's another way. On free, what you can do is you can go to apps, right? And then you can scroll and look for Pexels. P-E-X. Where is Pexels now? There we go. So there's Pexels and there's Pixabay. These are free. So if in Elements you can't find it, just go to Pexels, open it up and say meeting. These are all royalty-free images that you can use. So you can use here. Okay, or let's change it to this one. And you can adjust. Okay, maybe this one you want to talk about teamwork. You can adjust it, make it bigger so that it fits nicely, right? So those are things that can be done. And maybe you want to replace this one. This could be someone's photo, your member's photo, Toastmaster of the evening, Toastmaster of the day, your keynote speaker. So let's look at, say, man professional, for instance. Then they'll give you photos like this. And maybe this is the guy. So he's going to talk about something in your club, right? And you can change that. You can double click on it and stretch it so that the photo looks like a profile photo. Okay. So far on this part, any questions? Magic. That's a Canva's keyword now. Everything is magic. Even their keynote next week is they said revealing the magic or something like that. Okay. All right. So now what about the brand element, right? You're using Canva free. You can't use the brand hub. Okay. So let me just change this color to white. Okay. Okay. I have Let me share with you what can be done. Okay, never mind. Let's do it from scratch so that you can do it too. Okay, and feel free if you're on your computer, you can log on to Canva and follow along. Don't worry about it. Okay, so I already have the brand here. I don't have to look for the things. So if you have Canva free, what I can advise is to create sort of like a template, right? So what you can do is, okay, you want to use, okay, this is the logo. So you have the logo. And then you want to have the fonts, right? And you want to remember that you have the fonts. Shortcut here, I'm going to use T that creates a text box. And then it says Gotham. Okay, so this is your font. So basically you're creating a little bit of a brand guide, okay, or a brand visual identity, but you have to, let's see if Gotham, since I feel like I saw it. There we go. So Gotham is now part of Canva. It wasn't originally. And if there's no crown here, means that Gotham is free to use as well. There you go. So you've got Gotham. And then you want, okay, so how I do duplicates also is I click alternate, or on a Mac, it's an option, and you just click and drag. Don't worry, you don't have to remember that because I'll show you a different way. So another way is to duplicate text or any element is to click this one. They made it really easy. It used to be here, but now they make it really easy. Whenever you click the elements, it's here to duplicate. So you've got your letters, your fonts. Now we want to go to, is Myriad Pro already part? No, Myriad is not here. So Myriad Pro, I believe, is a paid font. If you happen to have Myriad Pro file, and you are a pro user, you can actually upload the font. But let's go to Source Sans Pro. This one I know for a fact is here. So you know that this one is, and you can name it so that you can remember. I say this, but actually I already have one that's already made that I can actually pass to you and that you can use in the design. So why we're doing this, I will show you shortly. Now, what I'm going to do is create little circles or squares, doesn't matter what shape really, and have the 4 colors. So I love, you see, if you can see all the guided lines, I love that. So I know exactly the how far the distance of these things are, right? So click and then choose a color, or you can click here and then type out the hex code. So as you can see here on Canva, they use hex code, the one with the hashtag. So you can refer to brand guidelines and put in the red, put in the blue, put in the gray, and the yellow. And there you have it, a basic sample. So now, even if you're using Canva free, just save this image, because what you can do is, okay, say this is a color that you want to change, right? You go there, click on this yellow, right? And then you can add new color. And then you see this little dropper tool. What happened is you scroll down, take the dropper tool, okay? And just go to your little guide and say, this is the color that I want. Once you've done that, it will change the color here, and you'll end up having, once you start using all the colors, it will appear here as well. So that's one of the tricks that I used to use when I was using Canva free, is to just have your own set, and then you can delete this later or just keep it on there. Once you put things there, right? Let's just test the theory. Okay, when you have that, say, I don't have that image anymore. When I click here, all of the brand colors are already there for you to choose from. Okay, so does that answer your question, Asar? You use photos from your gallery instead of, yes, you can use the photos from your gallery. Yes, provided it is not copyrighted, you can. How to embed TI colors on Canva? Is it automatically? No, it is not automatic. You will have to go into Brand Hub. Let me just show you. Once you have Okay, so I have a few brands already on here because of clients and stuff. So if you have the pro or the team version, you will be able to add new brand kit. Once you add a new brand kit, let's do a test. Okay, just to show you, let's do a test. Feel free to ask questions. I will answer as much as I can. So logos, you can upload all the logos from that you've downloaded from Toastmasters International. Just put it in here so that when you're designing, it's so easy to find. You don't have to go through your uploads or anything like that. And then color palette, add new and put in the color. So here now, this is a new feature that Canva introduced because they introduced a printing option also to download as a PDF print. They've also included the CMYK because CMYK is, again, something that you need for printing. Your printers will use this. So you can add in your hex code. Okay, let's do that. Let's go to the brand manual. I have it handy here. So easy for us to refer. Okay, so let's go with this one. So it's 772432. Let's copy that and put it in here. So as you can see, it automatically gives you a color. Hang on. And then you see CMYK 12, 95, 59, 54. And you can add that. 12, 59. Okay. Was it 85, 54? No, 95, 59, 54. 95, 95, 59, 54. Just separate them by comma. So as you can see, now you have the CMYK. So this helps when you are doing printing. For instance, you're printing a poster, you're souvenir program, things like that, or flyers, when you're doing your open house. So these, this will help when you create the PDF for print. Then there's it doesn't have to automatically generate. You can use the CMYK provided. Okay. Did that answer the question? Can you share the full color code for the 4 colors? Okay, so the 4 color codes are actually in the brand guideline. All of the color codes are here. We have the hex code, which is what we used just now, the one with the hashtag. Then you have CMYK for printing. RGB, RGB, it depends. There are some users, maybe if you're using Photoshop or other design software. And then you have a Pantone color because some printers also use Pantone colors. Can we play with color percentage to give soft color? All right, so when you talk about color percentage, usually it has to be 100%, but Toastmaster does give you gradients. So instead of a color percentage, you have gradients and you have transparencies. So this is how you can soften the color by using these transparencies. Okay. So those are the options. There are 3 options for the transparencies that can be used in accordance with the guidelines. Okay. All right, so now I have put that in. So as you can see, if you have something like this, you can easily just color pick if you don't have the brand kit. Or if you have no control of the brand kit because you're not the main user, this is what you can do. You can create that color based, so just pull out the color codes from here and you can create your own template for the brand. Okay. And then let's see. Okay, so what other styles can we go for? Now let's look at another design. So every time you pick a template, they will also give you similar templates that you can use. Right? Let's pick a different one. Maybe this one. Again. Okay, so now, just now I used the shuffle, right? From the brand kit. So you don't want to use the shuffle. Let's try and do it with this. So career advice, let's change that to, okay, it's already here if you already have that. So you can just choose from here. But if you want to be sure, just pick a color here and say you want it to be blue. And it will automatically change that color. And then this one, you want to use a different color, use the color picker tool. And oh, wait. 1 minute. Okay, so you need to scroll before clicking the tool. There you go. And it changes the color there. So for here, I'm not going to do that anymore. Oh, wait, it's not. For instance, then you can change all these different elements according to what you do. So if you notice, my brand kit has the gradient palette as well. So I know that this blue will be a gradient with this blue. Reds, the maroon is a little bit different. They have different codes actually than the main maroon. And gray will go with this very, very light gray if you want to do gradients. And then this yellow is an accent. So technically this one, I should put it as gray, for instance. And then this one can be the yellow. There, something like that. So that's another option. Oh, okay. Let me show you the pixels one. Oh, I did just now. Pixels. Maybe let's try Pixabay. So same concept. And you can go to Pixabay. And then you can say speech. Let's see what they give. Okay, not or speaking. Okay, so when you look at photos also, things like this would not be suitable, right? Now I like Pixels more than Pixabay because there's more options. So for instance, if we say meeting again, there's a lot more options in terms of photos. And you know that you can use all of them. What if you want it to be fancy and you want it to be a video, right? But you also don't have Canva free. You also don't have Canva Pro. It's okay. Let's go to the Pexels website and look for videos. So you can choose different videos as well. These are also free. Pexels are pretty good that they have free videos. So if you cannot access the elements, or the photos that are available for pro users, then you can always upload it. You may have from your own meetings, you can use that too. So as you can see here, instantly you have a very nice poster. And then maybe you just want to add the logo. Okay. Okay, sometimes this happens. What you can do here is click on control and move things around. So it will, even if you put it there, it's not going to affect that frame. They call this frames, where you can drag and drop things into a specific shape. Okay. And I'll just resize it, make sure there's enough space. So say I want to put it, you should not be covering people's faces as well. So, okay, let's say I don't need this info and I want to have it here. I can. I don't want the lockup, maybe not enough space. I just shrink it and you can just adjust it accordingly. We don't need this. We want to move this. That's part of what we can do. Like that. Okay. All right. Let's see. I think we had a question just now. Let's see. I said I will get back to it. Okay. All right. So any questions so far on this one? Okay, if there are none, let's look at what Binika has shared in the meeting chat and let's go ahead and do something about it. Right, so for instance, you have phobias. Okay. Phobias. Okay, so number one, we're looking at illustration. If you look at the chat, we're looking at illustration. So let's see. Okay, so this is one of it from the chat. How can we improve on this, or how can we help Binika with this poster? What do you think? Okay, the design is nice. So you're talking about, Binika, here, unsolved cases. Let's see what we can find. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so one way is, if it's not, again, you can use images as long as it's not illustration, but it should not be the highlight or the focal point of your design, right? So let's say I take this and this portion. Let's just see how this works. Okay, I am just making copies, and then I'm going to shift this up. Okay, so that is the base design, right? Okay, let's look at what we can do. How can we improve on this? Okay, let's get the first things first. Let's try and look for a fun meeting poster. Let's see. Okay, too much fun. Hey, almost my name. Okay, let's say we want to have something that is, okay, this is too much illustration. Or let's just go with the not fun, but how do you make it fun? Let's have a look. That can go in with unsolved mysteries. So I can see that the style of this Toastmaster Club is very whimsical, very fun. Let me try and see. Okay. Okay, let's have a look at this one, right? I think, yes, there is. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to look at, and let's say mystery, right? So something mysterious could be, what's a nice one? This, okay, and okay, say for instance. So it's in the background, right? Okay, now let's change these colors to something that is Toastmaster. There we go. I'm going to change the background color to white. No, actually black. Black is okay. Okay, and then we put in this Toastmaster logo here. Okay. And then let's remove, oh wait, let's see, it says register here. Okay, let's try and do that. Register here, bit.ly Binika Reg. Okay. So say I say, okay, for instance. And then you can put the info here. Let's see, let's just roughly do this. In August 2023, time is 6 to 8. 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. WIB, right? So then you can have someone's photo here. Join online. This one is okay. You can put your Toastmaster name here. If you don't like it, Okay, why it's a diagonal, it gives it a fun element, so you can use that also. There's no restriction on whether your wording needs to be straight or level, so you can use this one also. And then you can change the colors again, change the colors according to the brand. There you go. It's not see. Okay. Change that, change this to gray, change. So you have to make sure that the colors that you use can be seen, can be bold. So something like this. Change here. Can change the text. Oh wait, is successful. Yellow can. Okay. So you can have instead of an illustration, you can use that. Also, for instance, if I use this one here and position it to, oh wait, that's not here yet. Position this to front. And I'm just doing this because I want to take the QR code, but not necessary if you don't want to. Just to illustrate. There. QR code can be here, can be here. So that's not a problem. Okay. Does that help you, Benika? Okay.
Yes,
So,
thank
all
you.
right. No problem.
Duration.
So yeah, you can use any of the designs, right? Okay, so now let's get back to this presentation and we're going to wrap up. Okay. All right. So I hope that helped shed some light. Okay. I hope that helps shed some light on the on how to use Canva to create your posters very easily using template. Oh, sorry, the name is Seni. Sorry, Seni. I see Binika first. Thank you, Ilios, for clarifying. Yeah. Thank you, Seni. All right. So I hope that shows you
Adelina.
the different options that you have, how you can really customize the templates, and you can move things around, change up the photo. If you want the photo to be bigger, smaller, you can do so. Use your own photos would be best because it's royalty free, and where you can find those royalty free photos as well. So I mentioned several times that there are options how you can actually go into getting all the pro features. I showed you some workarounds, but at the end of the day, having the pro features is very, very beneficial, especially for yourself and your club, right? So here's the free. You get to do the drag and drop. There's still like a lot of free templates available, free fonts and elements. You get the AI tools. See, I mentioned earlier, Canva likes all the magic write, magic design, magic edit, and they're introducing more magic things. And then you get 5 GB of cloud storage, among other things, right? So there's a lot of things that you can do. I used Canva Free for years and years before actually using the Canva Pro. There's so many things that you can do. You can download elements from places like Flat Icons or FreePic. If you want different, say, icons that are, most of the ones in Canva can be pro. But if you want to look at those icons, which I can show at the end of the session, some of my favorite resources for free. Okay. So here's Canva Pro. Again, you have a list of things. This is for Pro, this is for Teams. Teams basically just means that it's more than one person. If you are Canva Pro, you have, I think, either one person or maximum 2 people can use, but you get unlimited access to all of their features, all of their premium templates, stock photos, stock video, audio, everything, right? And you can go up to 100 brand kits, but usually for clubs, it's not necessary. And you have all of these different fun things like magic resize, which can be very useful, especially when you want to convert, say, a design from a poster. You want to convert it into a Google form header design. Magic Resize really helps. Of course, they are, again, workarounds. If you want to learn more about workarounds, you can always contact me, no problem, and I'll share whatever workarounds that I know. There's also scheduling that you can do to your social media posts. So again, it's very similar. There's just a few other things that are added when you talk about Canva Pro and Canva Themes. So here's something that I've been advocating for years and years and years since I found out is Canva for nonprofits. Now, if your club is registered in your country and you have that certificate that says that you are a nonprofit or an NGO, you can apply for Canva for nonprofits, which gives you the ability to use every Canva Pro feature. Basically, you get Canva Team with a maximum of 50 seats. So 50 people can use the Pro features. So you can have a team of 50 for Canva for nonprofits. It's free. Absolutely free. All you have to do for Malaysia, I know all you need to do is submit the registration of society certificate, and you should be able to get a free account. So make sure when you're doing that, do it from your club's email account or main account, so that even if you change your leadership or your members, that still stays with the club. So that's one. If you don't get approved, try again. Some people have reported that they don't get approved on the first try. So you can actually do that. So the QR code is there if you want to check it out. You can also Google Canva for nonprofits, or let me just give you also the link in the chat. Yeah, so not many people know about this. And I do recommend this for clubs to apply. Usually district doesn't have a certification, so they cannot apply. But if for clubs, usually you have some sort of a certificate to say that you are a registered NGO or nonprofit. And this is something that has been very useful. You can put all your PIs or your VPPRs on this, or their apprentice, and you can do all the things that Canva Pro can do, basically. So this is something I'm always excited to share, because I know that a lot of clubs or a lot of NGOs are actually not using it. I use it for all my NGOs. It's very easy to apply. Okay, so the link is also, if you're not scanning the QR code, the link is also in the message. So you can also save the messages and look at it later. Does any other accepted for Canva nonprofit? Yes. So Seni, yes, Heritage Toastmasters Club, I applied and we did get our Canva for nonprofits. Yes. So Heritage Toastmasters Club has a Canva for nonprofit account.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Congratulations. Yeah, sorry for interrupt,
No
Mama.
worries.
3 to 4 years ago, when I was in Mexico, Bali,
Mhm.
that time I and the founder, Dr. DTM Miranda, we tried to apply Mexico Bali Club for the Canva nonprofit, and it was rejected.
Oh, okay, try again. Sometimes or appeal to them. Sometimes I've seen several, because I'm also in the Canva for Nonprofit Facebook group, and I do see that some get rejected. Some other NGOs that are really NGOs also get rejected. But try again, maybe reread their requirements for Indonesia, and then apply accordingly with the documents.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. I will try again.
No
Thank you very much.
problem. No problem. This one very useful. Okay, so any other burning questions that you have? Ashar, what did I say? I will come back to you. Oh, I did already. Okay, never mind. All right. Any questions? Any other questions regarding Canva? I thought only me get rejected. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it's the process. Or the people who are approving, they might not, they might not understand, or they might not see it. But yeah, you can. you can try again, keep trying. Some people I've read in the group, they've tried multiple times to apply before they got in. And you can contact the Canva for Nonprofit team as well.
Toastmaster Adelina, I have one more question.
Yes.
So how long does Heritage Club using the Canva nonprofit?
I think I applied maybe 3 years ago.
During the
think so.
pandemic time, yeah.
Yeah, around there.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so no other questions? Okay. Okay, so no other questions. I will say thank you very much. These are my details. You can catch me on Instagram, email me. That's my phone number. Anybody wants to send me a WhatsApp, that is my contact number. And also my website. I will, if you want to know a little bit more about me, what I do, my expertise and things like that. Just a little bit of background. Then you can go to my website, which I will also share here. Okay. Yeah, so for those who want to see, I said that I will share with you. I said that I would share with you the resources. So one was Pexels, right? And then don't worry, if you go to my link, all my other details is also there. So this is for Pexels if you want videos, photos also, but photos, because it's already built into Canva, it's very convenient, but videos, I don't think they've built it in yet. So here's another one that I love to use, especially if you still can't access the Canva for nonprofits, or you are using on a different capacity Canva free. Here's a great website, Flat Icon, where you can look for different icons. Say you want to look for the Facebook icon, or what's that? So you can download all of these. There's a limit for this one, also has a free limit, but normally you don't go through. There's a daily limit, so it's not too bad. If you can't, if you finish your quota for today, download tomorrow. Okay. So here are some of the filters. It's not loading. Let's try a different one. Maybe Facebook you can get. So for instance, let's say microphone. Okay, so there are many different free options, and what you can do here is the filter. You can filter it to free. Hang on, where is mine? Icon, stickers, interfaces. Where's the free filter? Oh, there we go. Yeah, merchandising license and all that. Usually you can. So you can also use these. There's another feature in Canva that has not launched yet, also, or rather it's launched on certain accounts only, which is trace. I don't think I have it on mine. Let's see. Not on this one. Yeah, so trace is not available yet here. Usually once you get that, you can take any of these icons and you can color them as well. At the moment, I think coloring can only be for paid accounts on Flat Icon. But with that particular feature trace, which will be coming to Canva soon, you can color. You can use it to trace, and then that the image that it traced, you can change the color accordingly. So that's what's happening now. But at the moment, what you can do, let me show you a trick. At the moment, let's copy this. PNG. Okay, so I'm copying that and I want to paste it here. Okay, so at the moment, since we don't have trace, how do we color this icon? I'm using free, I don't have icons. How do I color this? So go to edit photo. Okay, and then let's see, click on duotone. Pick anyone or custom now, and say you want to change it to yellow. Okay, now we have the color here. I want to change it to yellow. I want to change this also to yellow. And as you can see, it changes the color. Ah, what happened? Yeah, Canva does that also sometimes. So that's, oh. Okay. There you go. So now you have that in yellow. So that's some tips and tricks. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Would you please share Canva nonprofit FB group with us? Is it open or private? You will need to it's I think it's a public group. Since we're here, let's just sort this out. Well, for everyone, is the nonprofit. Why is it Canva for everyone? Hang on a minute. Where's my Canva for nonprofits? Okay, never mind. I'll share. Let me look for it. I'll share it with Titin. And oh, is it this one? Canva nonprofits community. Am I in this? Oh no, I'm not. So usually when you want to join, there's sounds a private group. Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm on the wrong account. I'm like, why am I not finding this? Okay, let's go to mine. Okay, now we should be able to go in. There we go. So here's what we see. Is this a private group? I can't. Oh, it is a private group. So you do need to, private in a sense that you need to apply to get in, but not in a sense that only Canva nonprofits can come in, I think. So let me just get it. You can have a look. Invite code via QR. No. Okay, so if you want to join, you can scan this QR code. Let's see if I can post it in the chat. Oh, I can. Okay. So there you go. Yeah. So that's Canva nonprofits community. And you can see people sharing again. So there, what magic do you want? People sharing and helping each other, giving tips and things like that. So that's what's happening in the group. Yeah. So that's me. Thank you so much for your attention, for your questions and participation. I hope that you've learned more about how to use templates, how completely customizable it is, how to create your brand kit. And I'll also share with Titin the one that I prepared previously, just to get you started. Okay. Or wait, let me just share the link. Let me put it. Okay, so I'll stop share now. And yeah, thank you so much for listening and coming in. I would like to pass it back to Titin. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Miss Adelina Adna. I would like to express my heartiest gratitude for our keynote speaker, Miss Adelina Adna, for sharing with us the valuable knowledge about the magic of Canva. And thank you, our valued participants, for being here. I wish you all have gotten a truly fruitful experience with Miss Adelina Adna today. So let us share our small token of appreciation to our keynote speaker, Toastmaster Tasya. Would you like to share? So I hope it complies well with the Toastmasters International. Let me take the picture on my count. 1, 2, 3. Over 1, 2, 3. Okay. One more. Picture has been taken. Thank you so much, Miss Adelina Adna.
Thank you so much.